always. Okay. Well, um, the thing is that I after this after this period, I ended up having a problem with the. I was no doubt I was high on LSD, and I went into this Chinese restaurant that was kind of they had actually given me a hard time. They had I had ordered some food there, and then they said that I never paid. And most Chinese restaurants, you usually pay before you get anything, you know. And sure enough, they here I was paying. I paid, and they didn't want to give me the food. And finally, a friend of mine came in and he said I saw that he paid it. He wasn't even there. But we used to do drugs together. He went in there to get some food, and he told the manager there, because by that time I had escalated it, and we were talking with the manager, and he's the manager said, "You saw him pay for that?" He said, "Yeah, I saw him pay for that." I remember that guy. His name was Ruben, man. He looked at him, boy. I thought he was gonna hit him, man, because Ruben was kind of out there, you know. I mean, I was way out there, but Ruben was like just, I don't know. He was. I was willing to walk away from the money. Tell you the truth, man. I didn't want to go back to jail. But Ruben, boy, he just stood his guns, and sure enough, man, the Chinese manager let me leave with the food, you know. And then another time I was high on LSD, and I went in there, and I just sat down there in the main area that they were the main dining area, and I was just mad at that place, man. And sure enough, they called up the police, and they actually said that I took off my clothes or something like that, which was a total lie. So the police took me to they took me to a they took me to someplace in Brooklyn, I think it was. I don't know, for mental evaluation. They transferred me to the Bronx, to a Lincoln Hospital and mental ward. Over there, they gave me so much Thorazine and Haldol. Well, I don't know about the Haldol, how much they were giving me, but the Thorazine, they were packing it on, man, to the point that I was looking across the street, and which is 149th Street, and they actually had like a billboard like across the street, and within a couple of days, it was like looking blurry, because of all the drugs they were giving me, and that's a powerful muscle relaxer, Thorazine, and they actually gave me so much that it was hard for me to walk around. I looked like Frankenstein, the old Frankenstein movie. That's exactly what I looked like, during the time when they gave me that Thorazine. Like all my muscles were having trouble. I was having trouble just being able to keep my neck straight. I would be like, and my head would go back, and it was all because of the amount of Thorazine that they gave me, which was way out there. I remember them saying something like 100 milligrams or something like that. I don't know. Probably I'll look it up to see exactly what's the usual dose. I know that they were giving me a lot back then. Well, anyway, in a couple of weeks, I was coming down off of the LSD, and then I think it's like 21 days or something like that. They make you go before the court, and the court decides if they're going to keep you in the mental ward or let you go. I don't know if that's the Baker Act or whatever. I don't know exactly what that is. Baker Act might be that they arrest you, but eventually you got to go in front of a judge. But I was starting to feel better. I was starting to feel more like, you know, in my proper mental state. And so anyway, um, there I also started messing around with this girl named Elizabeth, and uh, we uh, we became intimate. And I remember I really did like Elizabeth. My father came from Puerto Rico to get me. My aunt Jovita, she came to visit, and also my dear friend of the family. I treat her like my aunt. I always did call her aunt, Angelina. She came to visit me. If anybody else came, I don't know. I don't remember anybody else coming. But my you got to remember all my uncles on both sides. They both owed my mother and my father because my mother and my father were the oldest in both families. So whenever somebody would leave the island and go to New York, leave Puerto Rico and go to New York, they would stay with my father and my mother, all of them. All of them. There was no exceptions. Mom and dad were the people that they would stay, so they were very indebted to my father. And dad had to leave, and dad had to leave school, and so did my mother to help out in the family, because these people have very large families. So my uncles, my uncles and my aunts, they felt very very indebted to my father, so they came. I guess they came to visit me because of that reason. I really don't know, but I could imagine. You know, my father was my father was very sacrificial. Gave up his dream of staying in school and stuff like that, and he was very active in playing baseball and playing second base. Actually, he was when Fajardo and Roberto Clemente was in Carolina, so they used to play each other, you know, and that was his story. He came from Puerto Rico, picked me up in New York, and I went to Puerto Rico. I started going to a Pentecostal church over there, and I never did go back to drugs. Never did go back to pot. And I was a tremendous pothead. There was always pot in the house. Mom said she threw it out. Now I know. Back then I thought I was just going crazy. I said, man, I thought I left something here. I thought I left some pills here and stuff. And Mom would take it and throw it out or whatever. And what can I say? The she didn't know any better. I mean, she was not that I think it was wrong of her to throw out the drugs, but it was hard for her because my sisters were 6 years older than me. So when I was 12, my sisters were 18, and my brother was just born. So pretty much I was let loose. I went anywhere I wanted to at 12 years old, do whatever I wanted to. There was no there was nothing keeping me from doing it. While the other kids were going home, while the light when the street lights went on, I would hang out, do whatever I wanted to do, and I was raised by the streets, as they say, a street rat, a New York City street rat. Well, I started going back. I went to this 1983. Here I was going to a Pentecostal church in Puerto Rico. I would actually live within walking distance of the church, so I would go to the church almost whenever it was open. I started going back to school, and I enrolled in the Technological College of San Juan. Now I think it's University Technology. I don't know what they call it now. It's University College Technological, whatever. I don't know. Over there in San Juan now. and got into that. So I started studying computer science there, and I graduated there with very high honors. And I continued uh, going to church. I really didn't have too many girlfriends I mean, I had girlfriends, but nobody that I really wanted to marry. I don't think, you know. And you know the I really just dedicated myself to studying, getting good grades. In 3 years of college, I had accumulated almost all A's, and the B that I had was in Spanish. So you know, I had spent more time in the English Spanish dictionary than in the actual book, because I'm a New York Rican and I really didn't understand that whole Marquez book that they gave us to read. I think it was, you know, I tried to memorize a lot of it, but when it came to that final exam, I just, as they say in Spanish, se me rompió la botella. You know, the bottle, the bottle broke, and I couldn't put it back together again. You know, all the information that I had in my mind was kind of like, it just couldn't come out. You know, and so I ended up with a B. Everything else was A. All the other classes, you know, accounting, computer science, this and that. So I ended up getting a pretty good grade point average. Back then 4.0 was the best that you could do. It's not like now that you could even do much more than a 4.0. So I had a 3.96, I think it was, something like that. And that's not including another year that I spent in another college doing more electronics study, more computer science classes, I should say. And then after that, I went to New York. When I left that, I started working. I started working as just driving around. I couldn't find anything else, so I started working as working in car services in New York back then. There was no Uber, Lyft. They had car services. They had taxis, and of course they had Lincoln Town Cars, but that's for the Wall Street crowd or whatever. You know, the highfalutin people. You know, they would take the big big time cars and, you know, go out to their mansions, Long Island and Connecticut and all these other places, you know, or their big houses. I mean, their big time apartments, you know, on the east side. And you know, I know, I stayed driving a cab for many years, many years, many. I did have a situation that I actually, I don't know if I should say this, just 40 minutes. You still with me? You ain't got nothing better to do. I tell you what, yeah, I'm gonna tell you about it. There was a funny thing. I guess I could do some funny too, right? But anyway, I was working with Tel Aviv car service, and they give me a call. Who's in Brooklyn? Who's in Brooklyn? So I clicked on the microphone and I said, yeah, I'm in Brooklyn. I said, get back to me when you're in Flatbush and Atlantic Avenue. So I went over there, and the other dispatcher gave me the address. So I go over there, and three guys get in there. One of them was Biggie, and two other guys in there, and so they say that they're going to Inglewood, New Jersey, Inglewood Heights, New Jersey. That they're gonna do a music video. Music videos were coming out there or whatever. They were doing music videos or something with in Marky Mark's house, who now he's called Mark Wahlberg, right? So anyway, we start heading up there, and I start smelling. He lit up a big old joint in the back seat. So he's over there talking, and I said, "Hey, we really can't have that. You know, I can't allow." So the guy, he starts Biggie. He starts. Oh, f you, man! I do whatever I want to. You just stay there. You just drive the car. I do what the f I want to. Who the f are you to tell me what the f and do? You know that he sees like this. There was this hot dog stand right on Flatbush Avenue, I think it was, as we're heading towards the bridge. Effing stop over here because I want to get some effing hot dogs. So, you know, while they were inside, I called up the dispatcher. His name was Ken, and I said, Ken, do me a favor. I said, when I click the microphone and my number comes out on your board, like I want to talk to you. Do me a favor and give me a message that my parole officer is looking for me, and I didn't show up this morning to check in with my parole officer, and they're looking for my car. They know where I'm going. They know where I'm going, and that I'm going across the bridge and everything, and that I have an all points bulletin out on me, and they're looking for me. So Ken, he's down for anything. He says, "Yeah, sure, I'll give you that message when you click in." So sure enough, Biggie and the two guys come in, and we're going over. We start moving, and all of a sudden here they goes. And I wanted to stay with the call because it was like $70 plus a 20% tip, which is already included because it was on a charge. So the how do you say when they start smoking again? I just click on the microphone, and then the dispatcher comes on there, very excited. Victor, you didn't go to see the parole officer today? He said they're looking for you. They know what car you're driving right now. They know the description, and they're looking for you right now. When you finish that call, you go straight over there to that parole officer. He just called me. They're looking for you. And then so Biggie, he said, "Oh man, I didn't know you was on parole, man. Here, I'll turn out the joint. So he turned out the joint. I took him to Inglewood Heights, New Jersey, and we finally get over there to Marky Mark's house, and the beautiful place, really nice. And they were doing some kind of music video there or movie. I don't know what they were doing. I think it was a music video. But anyway, $70 plus 20% tip for that time was good money, just for driving. And sure enough, the how do you say I'm waiting for somebody to come out and sign the charge slip. And sure enough, and I had a brand new car back then. I had a 1994 Taurus because I thought I was like RoboCop. Remember RoboCop? He used to have a Ford Taurus, and it was gray too. It was like charcoal gray, just like RoboCop. I used to love that. You're under arrest, creep. Uh, come with me, creep. RoboCop. That's my imitation of RoboCop. But anyway, Marky Marks comes out, and he comes out. And he said, "That's your new car." I said, "Yeah, that's my new car." And then so he comes and he takes his key out of his car, out of his pocket. Has a nice little key, and then he walks just like this, going, and then he gets next to a Mercedes Benz Sports Coupe, sky blue, like brand new. Puts the key in. I said, "Man, that's a nice car." It was like I got the message. Like he gave me he gave me a very clear message, and in a very embarrassing way. But anyway, hey, at least I got over. I did get the charge slip signed, and I made pretty good fare and tip. Of course, I didn't want to get a contact high just having these guys smoking in my car all the way from Brooklyn to Inglewood Heights, which was a good trip. I don't know how many miles, but it was long because you had to go through the You had to go through Brooklyn and then go through the. I think we went through uh, Brooklyn Bridge, and then we went through the East Drive. Or we ended up going through George Washington Bridge and going out that area, and then we still had to go, you know. But anyway, that's my Biggie Smalls story and my Mark Wahlberg. That's my story about them. So I got over like a fat rat. I had to. They say that there's always different ways to skin a cat. Well, I got over on them. They didn't want to stop. But when I guess him, Biggie Smalls, knowing how it is when you're on probation, I guess he had pity on me and can't just turn off the joint, and they got there. So, but I mean, we both got what we wanted, right? He wanted to go to Inglewood Heights, New Jersey, and I wanted to make $84. So, so I was doing good, and I picked up some other people that have been pretty good over the years too. I picked up Trey Palomalu one time. This is another funny one, and this I picked him up at someplace in Clearwater, and we started talking, and I didn't even know it was Troy Polamalu because he had his hair slicked back, and well, we started talking about football because I think he asked me where I was from, and I said I'm from New York, and he said what? He said you like the Giants? I said yeah, I like the Giants, and sure enough, I asked him where he's from. He says he's from Pittsburgh, and I said oh well, I said they have. When I was a kid, that was the team. They had Terry Bradshaw and the Steel Curtain and everything. That was the team. I mean, they had a tremendous team with Terry Bradshaw, all these guys, Steel Curtain. Let me see, it was Ed Too Tall Jones. They had so many good players. They had good players on both sides of the ball. There, they had a whole mess of good stars. They had a tremendous team. And then he tells me, well, he says, could you name two people other than Ben? No, he asked me if I can name anybody on the Pittsburgh Steelers team other than Ben Roethlisberger. And I don't know why, but my mind went blank. You know what I mean? So I couldn't even. I told him, I said, I can't even mention, somebody from the team other than Ben Roethlisberger. So anyway, he tells me, he tells me, he tells me what? He says, what do you think about that guy, Trey Palomalu? He says, I really hate that guy. And I said, well, the guy's a Hall of Famer, I mean, they changed the rules because of him, because he was so reckless out there and playing safety. And then so he says it again. He says, yeah, but I really hate that guy, Trey Palomalu. So I said, well, I don't know the guy personally. I said, but you got to respect. I mean, I'm not a Steeler fan, but you got to respect, the guy, the way he played. I mean, sometimes he's not on your favorite team, other people, but I could respect how they play, like this guy, what's his name, Donald, was it from L.A. Rams? He did a tremendous job the other day. I mean, he was getting double teamed almost the whole game. And the time that they didn't double team him, he sacked pretty close to sacking the quarterback. He made it so that the other guy he got an assist, and the other guy had a sack. That was the first game of the year for the Rams. So anyway, then when I take him to the place, I let him out of the car, and I open up the door for him, and he puts out his hand, and he says, I thought the guy was just a racist looking to bait me. I was thinking, what is this guy talking about? That he hates Trey Palomalu. I mean, why? I said maybe he's just trying to make some kind of race thing, and get me involved, and call up Uber and say, hey, this guy over here was talking bad about Troy Polamalu or whatever. But I open up the door and he says, "Hi, I'm Troy Polamalu." And I look at him and it caught me totally by surprise. I mean, he's not that much bigger than me. I think, I don't know, a couple of inches. And since he had the hair, back, I really didn't realize who he was. And he gave me a tip that was like 5 times what was on the app. So very generous. Of course, the guy's a millionaire, but I guess he appreciated the fact that his talents was recognized even by somebody who wasn't a big fan of his team. And but he punked me real well. He got me that time. And of course he looked so much different than the Head and Shoulder commercials. With all the hair. Now everybody I think has copied his hairstyle. A lot of people in the NFL now who got that hairstyle, but he was the first. As far as I know. And so I stayed driving for a very long time. And during that time, I've also done a lot of evangelism right in the cab. I've had people accepting Jesus into their life right in there. Um, I've had both in New York and here. Actually, when I moved down here to Florida in '96, I had my wife and 3 kids. We moved down to Florida, and I started driving a cab again, and I got robbed at gunpoint the second week out. I picked up somebody at Malibu Grand Prix, which is Nebraska Avenue, and it's not really such a nice place. But what do you know when you when you're a brand new cab driver? I think they set me up pretty well, and a guy put a gun to my head and made me go into a construction